All right. Good afternoon, everybody. How's it going? Wednesday afternoon for our 2 o'clock live session of Spidey. So, if you're just tuning in, I know we're just about right on time. I think I'm only 3 minutes in, which is awesome. Yay, kind of on time today. I gave you a heads up, hoping that everybody's got their paint out. All right. As always, we start with our primaries, black and white. All right. You should have paper towel out, your brushes, some water, and of course, if you need anything to snack on or to drink while we paint, that should have been out as well. I don't see anybody yet. If you're here, say hello. Hopefully I'll be able to see everybody as they show up. We've been having some really good luck with the OBS platform so far. I've been able to see most of your comments, and a little bit less glitchy and a little bit less of a backlog, I guess you might call it. All right, so I'm just hoping we are live. I just don't see anybody here yet, which is kind of crazy. All right, so there's Lita. All right, now I know it works. Thanks, Lita. I was sitting here thinking, wow, am I online yet? Did I do something wrong? Hello, Anne. Awesome. Okay. So everybody should have, now that I know that it's working today. All right. If it wasn't, that would be just my luck. I had a crappy night's sleep last night. And yeah. So anyway, I'm a little off more than usual, I would think. So everybody should have their paint out, all right? We don't usually always start with our primaries, blacks, and whites. We do mix our own colors. All right, so if you're not liking how the color mixing goes, you can always start off with a full range rainbow of colors and just start that way, okay? That is always your choice, everybody. Okay, you do not ever have to start setting up the way I do, okay? It's just easy when we start mixing colors, and it's a little bit easier to cart around when I do all of sessions out when I'm mobile, all right? It's easier just to cart around basic colors, and then we're always able to mix what we want, all right? Everybody individually can mix what they want. So I always encourage that. Mix what you want. All right. So you should have a couple of brushes out. I'm going to start with my bigger flat. All right. And I've got just a smaller flat out today. Okay. Just a smaller flat. Okay. So if you were able to even have anything smaller out, that's fine too. Okay, use which brushes you are comfortable with. Hello, Tammy. Nice to see you too. Okay, so those are the brushes I'm starting with today. All right, you should have, that needs to go off right now. Okay, you should have your paint out. You should have some paper towel out, a cup for water, your canvas. All right, today is a landscape. If you ever feel the need to do portrait or change the way your canvas is, that's okay, Amanda. It's all good. Hello, Amanda and Sophie. Nice to see you guys too. No Memphis today. This is like a boy one. Or is he gonna do it with Jason later? That would be awesome too. So, yeah, it's all good. Doesn't matter if you're late. I know you've probably got everything all set up and ready to go beforehand. So absolutely, get her going. So just a few little FYIs when it comes to your paint, okay? If you're working with acrylics, make sure that you have got either old clothes on or an apron, something that you can get paint on. If you do get paint on yourselves, make sure that you are close by to a sink. Get it washed off immediately. Do not allow it to sit and dry, all right? You do that, it's paint, all right? It's not tempera paint, it will stain, okay? So just be careful with your paint. Be careful, we are doing a different technique today. I'm gonna show you how to do stars. All right, really, really cool technique, one of my favorites. But we are doing the flicking technique today. So make sure that you are in front of your canvas when we do this and you are not spraying all over the room, okay? So we are just doing white, but if you do have a nicely colored wall behind your canvas, you will spray, okay? You will get it all in your face. It will end up in your hair. Not a big deal. It will come off, okay? I think I still have paint in my hair from yesterday, so not a big deal. It will come out in the shower tonight. So anybody, if you are showing up and you've got little ones, make sure if you've got boys, girls, no matter, with longer hair, make sure it's tied back. All right, it's just really, really good practice to have it tied back because you start turning around and you've got a handmade paintbrush. It will whip into your paint, okay? So if you've got a ponytail already in, bun it, okay? Just an easy way, just plop it all in one messy bun, okay? Just a little bit easier for you in the long run. All right, he changed his mind. It's all good. All right, so with your paint, like I said, be careful. Don't get it on your walls, all right? We will be getting a lot of that background done first. Lots of little details, and if you wanted to change it up at all, please go for it, okay? That is your choice as an artist, okay? If there's something that you start doing and you're just not feeling it, you know what? Don't do it, okay? Don't stress yourself out ever. Painting is meant to be relaxing and, you know, find your zen, okay? If you're stressing out about doing something wrong, you're not doing it right, okay? And if you're worried about making a mess, you're not doing it right. You need to be able to make a little bit of a mess. Your hands will get dirty. You will get it on the table unless you put something out, all right? So just be careful. Have fun. Find your sense of humor. That's really, really big and important when we're painting. And do not be so bloody hard on yourselves, all right? Everyone that has sent me a photo, they've rocked it. You have all been rock stars. And I need to put that out there. You know, like I've been practicing for close to 40 years and you guys have just started and you have paintings. You have paintings that look like what they're supposed to look like. And that's what's important, all right? You just have to just have it set in your mind that I can do this. If you have it in that head saying, I don't know what I'm doing, I can't do this, you can. If you have that mindset, it's not going to work, okay? So take a deep breath, and we're going to get going, all right? So have some fun with this one. They're all fun, but this one is even more fun, okay? So we always start back to front when we're working with any sort of painting, okay? So first things first, we're going to start with this moon area, okay? So take your big brush, make sure it's clean. All right, I just cleaned my brushes because I was, lo and behold, surprise, surprise, I was painting with them this morning. So, yeah, make sure that it's clean because we are going to start with white this morning or this afternoon, okay? You're going to come in and do that area where that moon is. Now, you're not going to be able, I think you can sort of see that actually. You're going to paint a white moon in there, okay? Start with the whites, pretty big in that top left-hand corner. Now, I'd rather you went bigger than smaller, okay? Because if you go bigger, you always have that option of making it smaller. And we do need to bring that haze in, okay? So you're going to go bigger, all right? Not dinner plate size, but pretty big size, okay? You want to leave about an inch between your outer edge and that circle, okay? Make sure that you're using lots of paint, okay? If it's kind of raised on there, that's okay, okay? Not a big deal, because we are going to really, really nicely blend it out, okay? So all I've got is a very rough drawn circle, okay, ish. All right, can you guys see? There it is. All right, you see how big that is? Kind of see the glare? Or to see the glare? There it is. All right, so big white moon to start with. Okay, now from there, what we're gonna do is take that same brush. You're going to go a little bit, teeny bit of blue, all right? Teeny bit, all right? It's not even caked on there. It's just kind of resting on the edge. All we're gonna start with is coming around that edge of that moon very lightly. Now, remember when I said very light with that color? If you come in light with that color and with a light, slight hand, you're going to blend it into that white, just like so. Light, light, light pressure. Blend it into that circle just a little bit. So you've got that nice, soft haze around that moon, okay? Now, if it tends to get too dark right away, you can wipe off what's on that brush, get rid of the blue, and you can very, very gently just blend it out. Okay? All right, I think I'm happy with that. Now we will be pulling in that yellow, not until we're done everything else, okay? So same brush, back into that blue. Now we're gonna start making the rest of that sky, okay? We've gone around that moon. You're going to try to stay away from the center of that moon. All right, we've already done it. So we don't want to go anywhere near it. We want to be able to have that haze, okay? Now, if it seems like you're getting too close, all right, you can take that brush, add some white to it, all right? And extend that haze out, all right? If it just seems like it's getting too dark too fast, add some more white to it. Not a big deal. All right, you can always add more streaks to that darkened sky, all right? That white will add extra haze around that moon, and it will add a little bit more gradual of a darkened sky, I guess. All right, so you're going to continue around that moon. Now, when you've got a sky happening with a moon involved, you always need to follow that circle of that moon. All right, don't change shape, okay? It's not going to make sense. That moon in the sky bursts with color in the shape of that cylinder, all right? So you need to follow that moon all the way out to the outer edges. Okay, so it's going to get darker and darker and darker until you get to the outer edge. Now, one way to pull in an even darker blue as you get towards that outer edge is not black. Okay, you don't want to use black hardly ever because black will totally take over it. All right. Now I'm going to keep going until I get almost to my edge. You want to be able to use long strokes using that thickest part of your brush. Okay, long strokes coming around that moon. And then as you get towards that outer edge, I'm going to add a teeny bit of red. All right, a little bit of red in there will create the darkest of purples. All right, so I am going to show you. Okay, now lots of times I get, if anybody gets really frustrated, it's because they think they're, running behind or running, they're not being able to catch up. That's okay, you guys. All right, one thing to remember with these videos is that they stay up. Okay, so if you tend to run behind, watch the video, and then as soon as it's done, wait for it to post, because I think it's about a 2 to 5 minute wait before it actually will post onto the site. And then watch it again, okay? You can always fast forward it, you can stop it, you can pause it. If you're just tuning in today, there are 5 or 6 other paintings that you can access on my site. Okay, so there's lots to do, you guys. Lots to do if it's a crappy weekend or if you're stuck in the house. There is something for you guys to do. All right, just make sure that you've got something handy to paint with, and you need either paper, canvas. I've had Doreen painting on Sketchpad. You know what? And cardboard. Why not? Why not? It's a canvas. All right. So once I get towards that outer edge, I'm going to come right to the outer edge. And then remember what I said about adding that red? Look what this does. Same brush, don't wash it. Come from the side of your red. Always, always come from the side. Don't plunk it through the center, okay? So from the side, a little bit of red, and you're just gonna add that red right to that corner, and then blend it towards, and until it kind of fades out, you guys. All right, so then you see you've got your dark, lighter, lightest, okay? That is how you darken that sky up. And you can really darken it up. If you like that purple, add more, all right? Not a big deal. Absolutely not a big deal whatsoever. Suit it to the way you want it to look, everybody, all right? Now, you've noticed I'm not too fussy around the bottom, okay? You don't need to be, because we are covering all of that with buildings, okay? So I'm not going to be too fussy. I am going to leave a lot of it really, really raw at the bottom, because it doesn't need to be covered, all right? We're going to end up covering it, all right? Okay, so once you've got that background done, I'm going to wash this brush really, really good. Now, if you've got your water sitting beside you and you've got a water glass beside you, don't put your brushes in your water. Don't put them in your drinking glasses. Okay, that happens lots. Trust me. It happens lots more than I care to admit. So when you're washing that brush, hard swirl on the bottom. Now, make sure to wipe it off really, really good, because we need to pull in that yellow onto that moon. And if you've still got blue in that brush, you're going to get a really, really creepy tornado looking sky with that moon. It's going to turn a little bit on the green side. So wash it, wipe it, all right? Now, to bring in that moon, it's not very bright, okay? Not very bright. All I'm going to do is take the teeniest amount of yellow on there, okay? Not enough to make any huge damage. And from a clean side of my white, I'm going to work it just a little bit in that corner until I get it to a really nice pale, pale, pale yellow. All right. And then I'm going to start working in my circle. Okay, create that moon. Now, depending on how much white you still had on that moon, it might still be wet, and that's okay. You just almost want it to kiss the blue. You don't want to go too much into that blue, okay? Just kind of kiss it, because if you go too much into that blue, it's gonna turn a really, really cool shade of green. All right, now a little bit more white as I come through the center. Again, following that circle and blending it in. All right. I think I'm happy with that. Awesome. All right, Linda, nice to see you. How are you feeling? Oh, who is all here? Janice. That's okay. You can absolutely watch what we're doing. All right. Oh, I've closed up my screen here. Okay, so you should have your moon, your sky, okay? Now, once you've got that moon in, now you can see, look at the difference, all right? They always, always, always turn out just a little bit different, and that's good. You have to be okay with that. All right, the whole idea with this painting was trying to mimic old school comic books, all right? Simplified, very, very simplified. And it needs to be simplified because, you know, I want to be able to draw in the younger kids, all right? It needs to be easy enough for them to be able to do. And yeah, we've had lots of success with this painting. It's been really popular. So once you've got that done, you're going to wash that brush, all right? You're going to pull out your smaller brush, okay? Now, it could be your smallest little detail brush. It could be, I'm just trying to think if we could use the bigger square. Yeah, it's just got to be the smallest brush you've got, all right? Now, for these stars, you're going to take that small brush, okay? And what you're going to do, you're going to dip it into your white paint, okay? Dip it. You don't have a lot of paint on there, okay? Then you're going to take that brush, dip it into your water. You're going to tap off the excess, all right? Not all of it, but the excess, because if you had too much water on that brush, it's going to drip down your painting, which is also a cool effect, but not the one we're going for. You're going to hold that brush almost like a violin bow, okay? And then it's just a series of small little taps, usually around the top parts of that brush. Don't death grip it and don't flick it hard because you'll break your brush, all right? That's not a good time. Don't do that. Okay, so hold it close. Remember what I said, hold it close and flick, 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 flick. And then you're gonna have to get more. All right, now bigger stars, not a big deal, okay? There's a way of making them look like shooting stars. It's just planting that brush on there and adding a little flick, okay, giving a little tail. Most of my stars that you're going to be able to see, that's what happens when you have too much paint or too much water on there. It's going to drip. Okay, so be careful. We are going to adjust with putting a building in there. All right, so if you've got space on the opposite side of your moon, put them over there as well. All right, it's up to you. If you like the stars, awesome. If you don't, you know how to do the backgrounds. Just kind of blend them out, all right? Now, when I told you that you could take some of the bigger pieces and make them into shooting stars, I'm going to show you with one. I'm just going to pretend that this was a splotch, okay? Now, I'm going to move this closer so you guys can see how I fix this. You're going to put that brush very gently, and you're going to flick. Okay, give it a nice little tail. All right, now don't go in really fast, all right, because they end up looking like commas if you do that. Okay, just be very aware, be very careful, okay? And I think I'm going to add another one up in this corner. So if it's something you want to add, by all means, go for it. All right, you can add as many as you want. If you don't like them, don't do them. Okay, now the little stars that I have in the background are just 5 lines. Okay, you're going to do a cross, then an X. I think that's right, like that, an X. Okay, so same brush, make sure it's your smallest brush. You're going to start with a very, very light hand. 1 line, 2 lines to give it a cross, and then a smaller little X through the center. Okay, just like that. All right, now I'm gonna scatter in a few here and there. This is one of those things that if you're not light with that touch, they will get really thick, okay? And, you know, it's not that big of a deal. The thicker they go, they're going to end up taking on more of a snowflake kind of presence. And that's not a bad thing, you guys. All right. Always, always adjust. I'm going to throw one up here. Barely touch the canvas. And I think I'll throw another one down here. Okay, always adjust. All right, take a look at it, see if they are random enough. I think I might throw another one in here. Now, I might end up covering those, who knows? All right, you never know until you start coming in and painting those buildings. And it's like, oh crap, I'm gonna go right over that snowflake. And it might have been your most favorite star or snowflake, and that's okay. You know what? Put another one in. That's all right. All right. So what we're gonna do next, you're gonna wash that brush, and we're gonna start mixing up a gray. All right. Now, the gray that we're mixing is just a kind of a darker gray, all right? We don't want a lighter gray. It needs to look like the shadow of a cement building, okay? Think of that, okay? So you're gonna take your bigger brush, bigger brush, okay? And we're gonna take a little bit of black, and I'm gonna add that to a corner of my white, all right? Just a corner of my white that's kind of already got a little bit of my blue in it, because that's all right. Not a big deal. A little bit of blue in there is not gonna kill it. Now, you're looking for a little bit darker than a silver in color, okay? A little bit more darker than a silver. And definitely lighter than a mid-tone gray, okay? So You don't want it black, if that's anything, okay? You want to keep it away from the black. You want to be able to see 2 different shades of buildings when we get in there. All right, so I've got my gray. See, it's nice and dark. I think I might mix a teeny bit more. Now, you know, it's really, really cool. I've been hearing some feedback from the sessions, and I'm so, so happy that everybody is enjoying these sessions. It's just a way of people to get together over FaceTime, just to get out of your head and not think of, you know, what's going on beyond your walls. And that was my whole point, just trying to get everybody to think about something, anything else other than the crap show that's happening outside. So for those of you that are new, awesome. Nice to meet you. Happy that you're here. But if you have come in and, you know, I'm constantly replaying a lot of the things I say during all of the videos. And for that, I apologize. I'm sure I sound like a broken record, but meh, whatever. All right, so next up, don't clean that brush. All right, now we're going to start pulling in a few random buildings. My first one, I'm going to pull in over here, okay? Now, if your background isn't dry, that's okay, because that blue is going to pull through that gray and create the most awesome of colors. All right, for example, okay, can you guys see how this has a little bit of this shimmer of the blue in the background? Okay, not a big deal. And you can see it through here too. All right, not a big deal. It just adds something extra, okay? So if you're worried about the color behinds, usually we have to wait for stuff to dry. This one you don't, okay? So I'm going to start with my biggest brush. Excuse me. Allergies are kicking my butt this year. So take that brush. What you're going to do is, and I am going to totally paint over this star. Awesome. I'm going to come in close to my border and bring a long rectangle down towards the bottom, okay? And then you're just going to create a skinnier box and fill it in. Fill it in. See, I've got a little bit of blue that was a little bit wet on there, and I'm totally happy with it blending into that building, because it just, you're probably not even going to see it because the black's going to go down there, but it just adds something extra to it. Not a big deal, okay? Now to finish off that building, same brush, I'm going to add a teeny bit of black to that brush. Okay, a little bit of black, and I'm just going to streak in a few darker areas to that box, okay? Just streak in some extra color towards the top, streak it in, okay? And then same brush, same gray, same little bit of black. Okay, you're going to plant it on the vertical, a little bit in between, and we're going to go start, drag it, stop it, and then start from the other side, start, drag, stop, create the top part of your building. And then I'm going to just blend it into the box below. All right, and then finish it off with a tiny little square at the top. That's the top of our building. All right, we're going to let that dry because we do have to pull in a few little windows, and we'll do that with this one of the smaller brushes. All right, so that's the top of that building. I think I'm good with that. It's just meant to look like a silhouette. All right, just a silhouette. Okay. Next up, we're going to come in and do a slightly taller building, opposite side of that moon. All right, same colors. If you like the look of that black on that building, you can darken it up. All right, I'm going to start in with my gray again. Add a teeny bit of black right to that brush. And I'm going to come in beside that moon. All right, start a little bit taller. This is going to be one of our tallest buildings. So drag it down, drag it over, and look at that, another one of my stars. Boom, gone. Oh well. Not a big deal. And then streak in that gray, you guys. All right. Now, if you are looking at it and it's kind of tapering at the top, try to make sure that it is top to bottom the same width. Otherwise, it's going to look a little on the odd side. Okay. All right. And then add more paint to that brush. Streak in all of your extra color. I had a little bit, it was tapering off on that side and it was starting to slope in like that. It wasn't looking proper, I didn't think. So I just added a little bit more off to that side. Now the top of this next building has a ledge on it. It comes well beyond past that building. So same idea that we used over here, except we're going to start past it. Okay, so start a little bit past. Create the top of your building, everybody. Okay, just a slight ledge past the confinements of that outer edge of your building. Okay, it's almost going to look like, think of the pipe from Mario. All right, you would think that Mario would be shooting out of here, and yeah, that's kind of what it looks like until we get the rest of that topper on. All right, but yeah, if you've got what looks like Mario's pipe, Mario's or Luigi's pipe, yeah, you've done it proper. Okay. All right. So a little bit more paints. I'm going to come at the top and we're going to start adding our extra skyscraper pieces at the top. I'm going to add one more and two more at the top. Okay. And then I'm not going to wash the brush. I'm going to put it off to the side. All right. I want to be able to use the gray that's in that brush. Okay. But we are going to take out the smaller of your two brushes. You're going to go into your gray, into your black. You're going to plant that brush at the top and pull in your little needles at the top of those buildings. Plant it, pull up your needles. Okay? And then you're going to wash that brush out. All right. And then we're going to start with the black ones. Okay. So we're going to let those dry. And I'll let you guys catch up. Okay. So I love the fact that I have 11 of you today. That's exciting because I'm thinking everybody else is enjoying the weather, which is awesome. All right, so I can't wait to see everybody's Spider-Man paintings, or if you're doing Batman, or heck, you can even do Wonder Woman. Absolutely, why not? Okay, for other logos, you would have to just, get pull out Google and have the logo sitting in front of you. Okay, so yeah, if you were going to do Batman, I wouldn't do the spider web, but you would put the Batman logo in your moon. Okay, that's how you can alter it just a little bit. okay? You can always, always change it, all right? I know Spider-Man isn't everybody's cup of tea, but he's pretty popular, so, and he just had a lot of different techniques. So that's why we started with the spider, okay? So, same brush. I'm going to go into my black, okay? I want that gray in there to be able to mix into that black so that it creates not a flat black, okay? I want those tones of gray in there as well, okay? So I'm going to go right into my black paint, okay? You should have your gray, should have your black on there, and it's pretty coated. It's pretty gunky, okay? I'm going to overlap my first gray building about halfway, pull over a bigger, longer building, and from there, let's pull up a rectangle out of that. Okay? Rectangle. And then a smaller rectangle beside it. Okay. And then you're going to come down lower than what we started. Come across. Come down. And come across. Okay, I'm going to fill that in. All right, come from the side, fill it in. Okay, now you're just filling it. Your gray is going to leak out of that brush. That's all right. I'm going to come right down to the bottom. Refill that paintbrush. And go right over that other building right beside it. Okay. Now you want to be able to see lots of brush strokes. Almost ends up looking like a little bit of a haze through those buildings. Okay, that's why I wanted the gray in there. All right, it's not flat. Okay, you can see a little bit of definition, but not too much. All right. So from there, I'm going to add more black to that brush. Okay. Now I'm going to pull in this building right in here. Now it slightly overlaps this bigger gray building. So slightly overlap it. Come over that line. Bring in that next rectangle. Fill it in. Blend it into the building at the bottom. Okay. Now, more black paint. Last but not least, we're working into the corner. All right, so a little bit of a gap. I'm going to come up towards the top here. This is ultimately my tallest building. I'm going to pull it right over. Oh, I think I might pull it over a teeny bit more. We just want to have a slight gap. All right. Pull down that rectangle, and then I come right off that canvas, everybody. Oh, fish tank light went on. Totally going to screw with my mojo here. Oh. All right, there we go. Okay, so you should have buildings all the way to the bottom. Okay. You should have a mix of black and gray, and it's just a skyline, city skyline, you guys. All right. Now, the last thing we need to do is finish off the tops of these buildings. Now, all I ended up doing was going into my black, pushing that brush flat. All right. Now, if you don't want to use this brush, you can go to a smaller brush. Okay. But all I want you to do is just kind of use the end of your brush and create just a tiny little ledge at the top. Okay. Oh, this brush is gonna irritate me, I think. All right. Sorry, everybody. I gotta hold it in front of me. Just give me 1 second. All right. Now, if it ends up being a little bit thicker because the brush you're using is just being a stinker, then so be it. Not a big deal. Okay. So that's what I ended up doing, giving it a little bit of a ledge. All right. Now, I'm also going to put the same kind of topper on this building that I just did. Okay, so a little bit of a ledge on this one right here. Okay, just a skinnier little ledge. Pull that in. I'm thinking if I can hear my son gaming and raging in the basement, you guys probably can too. So I apologize for that. That would be why he's in the basement. All right, so next buildings are a lot like our first two gray ones. All right, a little bit beyond that edge on either side, and then work towards giving it a needle at the top. Okay. All right. And then please, please, please let it dry. Okay. Needs to dry because the next thing we have to do is add in all of our excess windows and little details. All right. That's next. All right. So you're going to wash that brush out. If you wanted to, this would be the proper time to get your edges done and then wash your brushes, get rid of your water. Okay, meaning that this is probably the last time we'll be using our black except to do that spider. So I'm going to take that clean brush, go into my black, and I'm going to go over my edges. All right, now, do you ever have to do your edges? No. Nope, nope, nope. Now, the only reason I go over my edging is because it tends to clean up, okay? Cleans up the edges, and I get rid of a lot of my paintings, so I try to make sure that they're ready to go, okay? So if they look a mess and they go out the door, I don't want them to arrive to somewhere, another home where they look all messy and yucky, okay? So when I go over my edges, I don't even tend to watch where my brush is going. I just roll a straight brush. It will go right over that edge, just a tiny, tiny bit, giving it a little bit of a raw look. And that is what, I like that raw look. All right. If you are not wanting to get anything on the top and you end up doing that, the only suggestion I can give you is, one, leave it or let it dry. Okay, let it dry and then you can go over top of it. Okay, but regardless, it needs to dry first. Okay, and this is going to be a pain in the bum. Okay. So I'm going to come over this side. Don't go over your bottoms. All right. So you do your bottoms now, and they're just going to stick to whatever you're using as an easel. Okay. All right. Done. All right. So take this time to wash your brushes. All right. Give them a nice quick rinse. If you want to take the time as well to go and get rid of your yucky water. Okay, that's probably a good plan because we are going to go into our yellows and our whites next. All right, so give those a rinse and I'll be right back, you guys. Take the moment to refresh this, use the washroom, grab a snack, and meet me back here in a few minutes. All right, see you in a few. All right. Okay. The weather is supposed to be beautiful for like the next 2 weeks here, and that's great because I kind of want to get out into the yard. We definitely need to get into that yard, but the next few days I am way too busy to get into the yard. So if I can get out there on the weekends, that would make me a happy girl. Absolutely. Hopefully we'll be signing papers with the lawyer tomorrow. Hopefully we will have keys to the new place next week. So here's to hoping. Hoping. So hopefully you guys saw the photos I had put up yesterday. Southview School was the school in question when I was talking about the big mural that I finished last week. And they couldn't wait till September. So they posted pictures of what we did and told me I could post whatever I wanted. So if you haven't seen photos of that yet, go take a peek. Probably one of the biggest murals I've done to date and turned out awesome. My kids' favorite books were Robert Munsch and Dr. Seuss and Shel Silverstein, and that's what we paid homage to with that mural. So it just turned out so cool. It's definitely one of the many jobs I've done that I've been really super proud of, and you kind of look at it afterwards and think, holy crap, I did that. It was awesome. So yeah, are you back, Amanda? Oh, sorry. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, just say, move your butts. Thanks, Anne. Yeah, it turned out super cool. I was very happy with it. Very happy. So I've got a residential that I start tomorrow. Whole living room and kitchen to be painted and a little bit of a mural in that living room. And that's super cool. It's simple and it's clean, but it's going to add just something amazing to that room. And then on Monday, I've been asked to go out to Brooks, Hot Zone, to do a set of windows out at the Safeway. So do you remember the pictures I posted a few days ago about the uplifting, positive windows that I did at Safeway in town? We're going to do something geared towards the same idea out there. So I will be masked and gloved and just try to keep away from everybody out there because God forbid I don't want to bring that back here. So anyway, all right. I'm hoping everybody is good to go. Next up are those windows. All right. So I'm just kind of wasting a few minutes of time here just so that this dries so we can start putting in those windows. All right. Now the windows are easy. Okay. Easy peasy. Straight brush. All right. Exactly how we put the toppers on our building. That's how we're going to do those windows. Same smaller brush though. Smaller brush will give you the smaller window. Okay. Easy peasy. Now I'm going to use my smaller rectangular flat brush. Well, it's kind of an angle, but it'll work. Okay. Not a big deal. Now for those windows, a mixture of yellow and white. You're not going to mix it. You're going to dip. Because we want those windows to have those streaks of white and yellow. Okay, we don't want them to be flat. Okay, so I'm going to go into my white, a little bit of my yellow, and I totally went overkill with my paint today. I'm going to try to save a little bit of it. Okay, so I've got two colors on my brush. All right. Now I'm going to start with the building we started with. Okay, start there because you know that one's going to be the driest. All right. Now I was very random with my windows. Okay, they do not have to be lined up all the way down. Okay, it's just meant to look like we've got a few lit up office windows and others are dark. Think of it that way. Okay, so it's just meant to see a few, not all of them. Okay, don't kill yourself with trying to make sure that you've got a window that is open on every building from top to bottom. Okay, so you're going to start on the edge. All right, and create a little box, a little box. A little box. All right. And then I'm going to come down below and create another little box. Okay. I'm not going to add too many of them. All right. Now you can play around with different shapes. Up here, I'm going to do two longer, more on the white side. Okay. Now you absolutely want to see different shades of that yellow and white, okay? Absolutely. Now, play around, have some fun, all right? If you're going to pull in a few on this side, I'm gonna add one in here, why not? All right, have some fun with it, okay? Now, from that building, I'm going to come in and do this one next because that one we know is dry. Okay, that's the second one we did. So I'm going to come in and add a few little windows at the top and kind of work down a little bit. Okay. Now, they're not going to be the same. They're going to be all sort of different. I'm going to come and add a few more down here and here. And maybe one down here. Oh, let's do two. Why not? Okay. Awesome. Thanks, Janice. Absolutely. Absolutely. Did you let her know that she can access all of the videos? All right. Send her just to, well, obviously you had to send her to my page. All right. If she were to go in and look at all of the videos, she can pick out whichever one she wants to do. All right. So when we get done with our windows, I'll show you what's coming up in the next few sessions. All right. And then, yeah, if you guys need to get supplies ready, if you need supplies, let me know. All right. So those of you that have tuned in before know that I've been selling kits. All right. Kit has everything that you would need to paint. All right. 5 1-ounce containers, excuse me, of paint. Do I have one of those containers sitting here? Oh, yeah. Right there. All right. This is what they look like. That is a crap ton of paint. So if you get a kit from me, do not pour all of the paint that I give you onto that plate because you will not use it. It will go in the garbage. All right? So only use what you're going to use. And then you've got paint for the next painting you want to do. All right? So just be very aware. Okay? So you guys saw what my plate looked like before. We've hardly used anything for paint. All right, so I am going to try to save this. I'm probably going to wrap it up and use it for Friday. All right, so once you've got your windows on your last gray one, we're going to come in and start doing our other blackened buildings. All right, so now the buildings in the black are in the forefront. All right, those windows need to be slightly bigger. The ones in the back were smaller and more in the background, farther away. So now that we're going to move forward a little bit, they're a little bit bigger. Okay, so you can achieve that by going to a bigger brush or applying a little bit more pressure or 2 lines. Okay, that is your choice. All right, so next up, we're going to come in and start over here and in here. All right, so bigger windows. I'm going to apply a little bit more pressure. Let's see if this brush does it. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, slightly bigger. Slightly bigger. Now, they can be longer, they can be even more square if you choose to. Totally up to you. They just need to be a bigger sized window. Okay? Bigger than the ones we put in the background. All right, now I'm going to add a few more towards the bottom of my canvas. Stagger them a little bit. And then I'm going to leave that. All right, and then we're going to move into the second black building. Okay, now slightly smaller building, still those thicker windows, but I'm going to do just a smaller, thinner window, not quite as long as I did with the first one. All right. All right. All right. How are you guys doing? You guys doing all right? I haven't heard from anybody. Everybody has got to be super, super stoked and concentrating today. So once you've got those windows done, I think I might add just a smaller window in more white. All right, and then we're going to come in and work towards the other black buildings. All right. Now, I'm not going to pull these windows down too far because we're going to pull in that logo, okay? So just a couple, everybody, not too many. All right. And then I'm just going to dip that brush into a little bit of white and put in a few at the top of this guy. Absolutely. And then before I get rid of that brush, just thinking, we're just going to wash it. All right, give it a rinse. All right. Now, next up, I'm going to give you guys a few minutes to catch up. All right. Next up, we're just adding a few little highlight lines on our buildings. That is it. Okay. And then, yeah, I'm going to let you guys catch up. It's cutting out. That sucks. All right. Well, hopefully it gets back on track for you, Anne. All right. So once you are done with your windows, all right, let your windows dry. Next up is just taking that, you can use the same brush if you've got that thin edge, or you can use a detail brush, all right? Just anything with a smaller tip, okay? So all we're gonna do is a little bit of our white, make sure that that brush is pushed flat, all right? Push it flat on the side of that plate. Make sure that that tip is nice and flat on the edge. All right, if you've got a smaller brush with a nice fine tip on it, you can use that as well. Just remember, no pressure, light pressure. You're gonna barely touch that canvas with the edge of that brush, okay? Not the thickest part of that brush. And don't wreath on it, because then your brush is gonna splay and you're gonna get the biggest and wonkiest of line work, all right? So just be very, very aware, okay? So what you're gonna do is just take that brush, and I'm gonna show you in some of the darkest areas. We're gonna create some of these little white lines in here, okay? Just to create a little bit of a highlight. So this line is just meant to create that line between our buildings, okay? And I added just a few little highlight lights that went right through, okay? I'm gonna add another one along the top here. Okay. I'm going to move this just a little bit, you guys, so my head's not hanging in front of the screen here. All right, and then I'm going to add a few little lines through here, and then through here, through here. Just start adding some extra lines just to give it that kind of comic book look. All right, it's not a whole lot. It's just to give it kind of that rough little edge. All right, just to highlight some of these pieces up at the top. Okay. And not to forget this guy over here. All right. Okay. Not too much going on down here because that's where that web is going to go. Okay. So don't stress over it. All right. If you've got some bigger edges where it looks like you're going to have a lot of open space, you can give it a little crosshatch. Not a big deal. Okay, so when you're done with that, you're going to take that brush, give it a wash. Okay. Now, before we get into doing that web. Okay. We are going to start with getting that banner. Now, the banner at the top, all right, was supposed to be pulling that old school comic book kind of feel to it. All right. Now, I had put While the City Sleeps in it, but you know what? You could put so-and-so's bedroom. All right. If it's being painted for a nephew or a grandson or for yourself, you know, put something else in there. Or you don't have to do anything at all. And I think my son is leaving. So when you are done with your buildings, okay, with your windows, with your little line highlights, next up, I'm going to come in and bring in this banner at the top. And you know what? You don't have to do it at all either, okay? So if you choose not to, don't do it, okay? If you're liking it and you just don't want to bother with it, it looks cool as it is, leave it, okay? All right, so for that banner, big brush, okay? I'm going to go into my white and a teeny bit of my gray, all right? I don't want it to be totally white. That white is going to be semi-transparent, okay? A little bit of gray that we've already used is going to help streak it, make it almost look like that newspaper clipping. All right, so, and again, you're gonna plant your brush, drag it across, do your border, okay? Your long rectangle, that's it. So, somewhere along the top, all right, I'm going to put mine about right here. Drag it, drag it, drag it. Make sure you're straight-ish. About there. All right. And I'm going to come from the other end as well. Okay. And then you can wash that brush out. We are going to use that bigger brush, but I want the gray out of it. Okay. We are going to start with, what do I want to start with? White. We need to start with white. All right. Believe it or not. That red is going to be very, 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 very transparent. I'm just trying to think. Do I want to start with red or black or white? Like I said, it's been a year since I painted this, so I have to think for a second. You know what? If we were to start with white, it's going to take forever to dry. So I think we're going to start with red. All right? We're going to start with red. All right? Now, our red and a tiny bit of black. Okay? That's what's going to create that really nice, rich base. All right? Remember that black is going to be really, 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 it's going to take over if you use too much of it. So not too much. All right. So into your red, bigger brush. Now I'm going to come in with a little bit of black. You can absolutely mix that right on your tray. Okay. A little bit of red, a little bit of black. Now you can see I don't have it very dark, okay? It's just slightly darker just to give it some oomph. Are you out of here? Yep. When are you back? Okay. So we're going to very loosely draw the shape of that web, okay? Now, big brush. I'm going to start about right here. Now, we're not going to start tall, because we want to finish it off with the white, okay? So we're going to start it about right in here, okay? So find your halfway point, halfway between your top and your bottom. That's where we're going to start, okay? Half, okay? Now follow that loose, loose, loose out. Out, out. Okay. So when you were doing spider webs. It's always a loose, like, not loose, but sharp indent, all right? A nice curve. Okay, so now that you've got your curve, fill it in, all right? Fill it in. Just very, very rough and loose and just a lot of texture. Okay? Lots of texture. Now, if you can still see a lot of your background in there, add a little bit more black. All right, that's going to give you a nice base. All right, nice base to cover up that background. All right. Now you do want the texture in there. Texture is what's going to give it that kind of fuzzy spider web kind of look. All right. All right. That is the base for my web. Okay. Barely see it. All right. It's just the base. Okay. Now, once you've got that base, I'll let you guys catch up for a few minutes here. Okay. Because we're almost on the down. We're almost done here. All right. This one went really, really fast today. That's crazy. Okay. So what you're going to do is create your web. It does need to kind of come down and taper off that bottom of your canvas. Okay. So once you've got that drawn in and painted, what we're going to end up doing is adding a little bit more texture to it. All right. So I really, really want to be able to add a teeny bit of white in through that center where the spider needs to sit. Now, if we don't lighten it up a little bit, we're not going to be able to see the spider, and that's the whole idea. Okay, so let that dry just a teeny, teeny little bit. I think that this is still wet as well. We may just need to let it sit for just a minute or two. All right, okay, I'm okay with that. So just put your brush down if you've got it done, and just, if you're still working, catch up, okay? All right. So, yeah, that looks cool. All right. I cannot wait to see your guys' paintings. This one is a cool one. Absolutely. So beyond getting out into the yards, I heard somebody say, was it yesterday or 2 days before, to be very, very careful with getting into your flower beds yet, because a lot of the pollinators are still kind of hibernating in there. So they kind of need all that stuff. So I've been wondering, should I be getting out there or should I not be getting out there? I know it needs to be done, but it's just that backyard of ours is looking not great right now. But yeah, fun. Gotta love spring and the fall. Hey, clean up and getting things put away. All right. How are you doing, Amanda? Oh no! Why is Memphis crying? What's going on? He's always such a happy-go-lucky guy. I can't even imagine him crying. Crazy. Crazy. All right. So, give it a few seconds. Once it gets to be a little bit tacky, we're going to start using that same brush. All right. So same brush. I've not cleaned it. It still has the red and black in it. All right. Now I'm going to add a little bit more. Just make a teeny bit more of that reddish black. And I'm going to start layering it a little bit. All right. So just adding a lot of your your texture. You can stipple it just a little bit. Uh-oh. What's going on, Amanda? Oh no. Well, he's just let him know that he and Dad can do it later. That's all. That's all. He can watch the video later. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. Okay. So you're going to take that brush and stipple it through the center. All right. I'm going to add the teeniest amount of white to that brush. All right. Just the end. All right. It's not gunked on there. It's just the end of that brush. All right. And I'm going to slightly stipple the inside of that web. That's where my spider is going to go. Okay. Now that web is, we want it to kind of make believe that it's kind of central. So I'm going to kind of create a circle with that stippled. Okay, through the center. See, it's sort of lightening up, and it will lighten up some more. Okay, so pull that stippled area out towards the edge, and then wash that brush out. Okay, now multi layers with this web. Okay, now wash that brush. Get rid of the red and the black and the white. All right, it's kind of a burgundy color right now, but that's okay. What we want to do is wash that brush, and you're going to add your white to it. All right, stipple your brush again. Okay, just kind of lightly tap it. All right, just create a little bit of a stippling on the end of that brush. Okay, now I'm going to go into my white. Okay, a little bit of white. I'm going to come in and start stippling the outer edge of my web. Now I'm not going to tap into that red yet. I'm going to follow around the outer edge because I want that to be nice and bright white. Okay, so come around that edge, little taps, really accentuate your tips. I'm gonna wait for my painting. My main painting is gonna fall, I know it. All right, slightly come close to that edge. All right. Follow it through to the other side. Get your nice bright whites happening. And come right down to the edge. Now we've got our bright edge, all right? Our bright whites, you're gonna leave that alone, all right? And now we're gonna come in towards the red, all right? Now we wanna blend in towards that color, okay? So now that we've got our bright whites, you're going to blend it in slightly, just slightly. See, create a light blend in towards that white. All right. Now, it's gonna turn a little bit on that burgundy side because of the black that's in that red. That's okay, all right, because I'm gonna show you something. Now that it's starting to dry in here, all right, we've got that really nice blend from our edge into our web. Now we're gonna go into same brush. And, oh, Tammy, that's okay. Yeah, you can start when we're done here. That's all right. I'm going to take that same brush. I'm going to go right into my bright red now. All right, bright red. Okay, so bright red. Now start pulling in your bright reds. All All right, and you're just gonna stipple that in, okay? See, told ya, multi-layered web. All right. Pull in those brights. It's gonna blend into that burgundy. You're gonna get this totally awesome multi-tonal red in there. All right. If it seems like you're getting a lot of, if it's really kind of not, if you're losing your lightened area in here, okay. Hi, Olivia. How's it going today? You can add a little bit more whites through that center, everybody. All right. Totally up to you if you've lost it, okay? That's where that spider is going to go. Okay, so take a look at that web. You should have a lightened center, shades of reds, burgundies, and finish off with your white around that edge. Okay, that's what you should be left with. Take a look at it. All right, so if you need to wash that brush out, add a little bit more of your white in there, you can. All right. If it seems like you've lost a lot of your edge, you can absolutely add a little bit more whites and blend it in a little bit more. Okay, that is your choice. Play with it. Okay. I think I've lost a little bit in there. So I'm going to add just a little bit more of my white. Just a teeny bit. All right. All right. We're going to let that spider web dry, okay? Now, you can fart around with it for a really long time. Find your line. I'm almost at that point where it's like, okay, I need to put this down before I massively screw it up. All right. So yeah, I'm right at that point. Okay, I think I'm happy with it. Okay, so what you're gonna do, wash that brush out. All right, put it off to the side. So hard swirl, bottom of your cup. I'm gonna let you guys catch up, all right? Because we are gonna need to let that web dry just a few minutes. And then we'll get into doing, actually, I think we're gonna pull in our web next, okay? So the web is using the edge of that brush again, all right? Just like we did, excuse me, for the, in with the buildings. All right, it's just a fine tip, all right? Coming off from our web, all right? And it's finding where we want to have that web connect, all right? Because the whole idea was to have that web connect to the buildings, all right? It wasn't just strung out connecting to sky. That doesn't make sense. It has to make sense, all right? Wondering where my water went. All right. Okay. How's it going over there, Amanda? Hopefully everything's doing all right. It's nice to see 17 of you, 16 of you today. We went up from 10 or 11. That's awesome. So I know I knew that I was going to either have a huge amount of people today or a really low amount of people today, because it's kind of based on whether or not you're a Marvel fan or Spider-Man fan, right? It all depends. So, which is all good. But I also know that lots are enjoying the fact that you can do the videos at any time. And yeah, it doesn't matter if it's, after supper, you're trying to get something to do with the kids just to calm them down and get them ready for bed or before bath time, this is the perfect thing to do. All right. So yeah, it's awesome to have those of you here. I'm guessing everybody else is out enjoying the weather because I know it's beautiful out today. Or maybe everybody's having a nap. Why not? Why not? I wish I could be napping. I think I started out with telling you I had like the crappiest sleep last night. Yeah. Awful. It was awful. But anyway, so next up, like I said, spider webs. All right, so smaller brush. Okay. Smaller brush, white paint. Now, we're not going to visibly come in and actually paint every line of those webs, all right? We want them just to kind of taper in towards the center and feather off, okay? All right, so I'm gonna start where it's gonna attach to the building. So kind of line it up to where it needs to go. I'm gonna line this one up here and it's going to feather off into that part of my web. Now, it's still a little bit wet. That's okay, all right? Because you're going to get the tones of the building behind it, okay? Now, make sure that those webs come right up because you do need to put in a few of those loops of your web that's come in past the color, okay? So I've got one there. I think I'm going to do one in here. Taper it in. This one will come up here. Taper it in towards that spider. All right. I'm going to play with this one and add another one right through here and one right through here. This guy I'm going to attach over here, right to this guy. All right, and then I'm going to put a few that aren't really connected in here towards my points. Okay, so let's stick one right in here. And this one will come towards the end. All right. Now we've got our very, very loosely drawn lines that attach, okay? Next up, you want to be able to bring in your line work, okay? So if your brush is starting to get a little on the pinky side, give it a wash, all right? Give it a rinse. You're going to come in with a little bit of your white. Make sure your brush is flat. And you're going to start pulling in your little curved lines between your lines of your spider web. Okay. All right. Let's extend this one, and this one will come to this one. And then this one will come to this one. All right. And then this one will attach to this one. And then this will attach to here. And this will attach to this. All right, and then you're just going to attach those webs. Now it's always a very, very pronounced loop, all right? It's not straight across, okay? It is a pronounced loop, all right? Now that one on the bottom will come off that canvas. I didn't do that up there. I should have. Okay. Now, once your spider web starts to dry and you want to really lighten up these pieces of web, you can go over top of them at any points and brighten them up, you guys. Okay. If you wanted to add more, you absolutely can. All right, absolutely. You can always add more, everybody. All right. It's just that going too far, you don't want to do that. All right. Okay. So that's what I've got going. All right. From there, I'm going to wash my brush out. Okay. Now, I'm going to wash my brush out because that is still going to be wet. I can see it. I don't even have to touch it. Still wet. All right. But this banner is dry. So I'm going to go up there and I'm going to put my little banner up there while the city sleeps. All right. So smaller brush, black paint. Okay. Now I'm going to move my canvas closer to here so that you guys can see what I'm doing. Can you guys see that? All right, so all I did was very, very loose W while, oh my gosh, I can't do this. Needs to sit. I need to be in front of it. Yeah, I'm one of those people. This getting old sucks. Hey, can you guys see that? While the that's better. All right, everybody. That just shows how blind I am. E. S. All right. Now, I've run into a conundrum. All right. Now, I have knots come long enough. All right. And that can happen. It happens to me lots. All right. Before that lettering gets dry, I'm going to go over it. All right. This is me. I screwed up. I'm only human. All right. Happens to me too. All right. So because I've gone too big with my lettering and I've run out of room for the most important part is the little dots, I'm going to come in and pull this over a little bit longer. That black is just going to smear a little bit. And I'm going to let that dry. Okay, good enough. See, I mess up too. It's all good. It can be fixed. You go with it. Go with it. Not a biggie. All right, so wash that brush out. Now, that spider, okay, it's pretty iconic with the way it's placed. All right, now start with the rounder body, okay? Rounder, thicker oval of that body, all right? You're gonna go in with your smaller brush, black paint. Now, this is still gonna be a little bit tacky. That's okay, because you're gonna get that color into the body. It's not gonna be flat, okay? So I'm gonna start following the angle of that web is kind of off to the side. All right, so that's body also needs to follow that shape. Okay, so come in with your oval and then fill it in. Okay. Fill it in. And then you're going to give him a round, not quite round, but smaller version of that for his head. Now, we're not doing a snowman. You need to come into that body, okay? It's not perched right on top. It overlaps, okay? Absolutely overlaps. Okay, you're going to be left with a bigger body, smaller head, okay? All right. You guys see that a little bit better? All right. Okay. Now, we've got all of our arms and legs start in that nook and corner where his body touches head, okay? So into that nook, you're going to take that smaller brush. You're going to come from the center between your head and body out, up, okay? So we're going to come out, up, okay? You're going to start bringing your arms out and then up towards the head, okay? Now, one big set for the outer edge, and then a smaller set on the inside. Okay? Both sides. They will meet above that head. Okay? And then you'll do your bottoms. All right, same idea. Out, in. And then out, in. Same thing. Out, in. And then out, in. Awesome. All right. So you can absolutely accentuate where your elbows are. All right. It's just adding in a little bit of an overlap on those, almost where the knees would be. All right. Knees and elbows. And a little bit of an extra kind of overlapped edge. All right, there you go, you guys. Okay, so I've overlapped just slightly on either side, and I'm going to do that on the elbows too. All right, so right from in here, this side as well. Okay, and then you're going to take that same brush, just wipe it off, add a little bit of white to it, and highlight it. You're just going to add your white and your white to the body. All right. So white to the body first. All right. So highlights on that top left-hand side. Follow the curve. Always follow that curve, you guys. Okay. And then you're also going to create that highlights on the bottom parts of those legs. Okay, that that black is still going to be pretty wet. So you are going to have to go into the white after you do each one. Okay, just to replenish it, brighten it up. Okay. How are we doing, you guys? That's what I've got going for my spider. Okay. Awesome. Now, once that spider is finished, okay, I am going to go back and rework my banner, the one that I messed up on. Oh my gosh, I'm never going to live that down. Yeah, it's all good. All right, so I'm going to take that same little brush and I'm just going to bring in a corner on each side of that banner just to kind of frame it just a little bit. Okay, just to frame it. All right, and then I'm going to go to my smaller brush and we're going to try this again. Like I said, if you're not interested in doing that, don't do it. All right, never ever do something when you're painting with me that you're not feeling. All right, ever. Okay, now I do need to be close to this because I am blind. All right. If you are having to redo anything, do not put your hand in it, all right? Make sure anything that's on your hand is dry or your painting is dry, all right? So I'm going to start again. While the city sleeps. Okay. Now, just a basic font, okay? When I was going to school, I used a lot of the Comic Sans fonts. And that's usually what I tend to use when I'm doing anything on Windows, unless I've got something that I'm following. It's just easy, all right? It's just a slight little italic towards that right-hand side. And it's just simple. Yay, I got it. Look at that. While the city sleeps. ... Dun, dun, dun. All right. Same brush you've got out. You can absolutely sign your painting because that's it, you guys. We're done. We are done this painting. So something a little bit different than your background. I'm going to use white. Underneath that spider. And then I'm going to flip it and paint that bottom. All right, so that is our Spidey painting. All right, I hope those of you that followed along had a good time. That was weird. I don't know what I said that got Google going on my phone. That's funny. Absolutely funny. Gotta love technology, you know, things like that. You wonder, what else are they listening to? Right? Thanks, Tammy. I'm glad you had fun. I want to see your painting. All right. So that's it, you guys. All right. I hope everybody had fun, and I hope that everybody's absolutely post your pictures. I want to see them. All right. I want to give you all of the loving that I can on them. All right. And thanks again for tuning in. And if you are, before we head out, give you an update of what we're doing on Friday. Okay. I know I have a huge following of people tuning in on Friday. That one is going to be, it's right here. It is the grain elevator. Okay, rural memories. Dragonflies again. We'll go through them again. Lots of blending techniques with this painting. You'll have fun with it. All right, buildings. If you did the buildings with me tonight, you know, we start with basic squares, triangles. All right, think of it that way. All right, it's always put into basic shape form, and then we work off of that. Okay, so this is Friday, 6:30-ish. Strong on that ish. Okay, I was surprised I was actually on time today because I'm never on time. All right, next week we are going to do, where'd it go? Next week, Friday, we're going to do the lantern. Okay, so lots of fun with this one, lots of colors with this one. This one is a really whimsical painting, okay? And it's fun colors. Okay, so this will be next week, Friday. And then we will do this one on the afternoon. We're going to do the owl. Okay. Yeah, we need to do the little hooter. Okay, so owls and lanterns next week, and grain elevators on Friday. All right, if you have any questions, shoot me a message. If I just don't hear from you until Friday, enjoy the next few days, you guys. All right, and stay well. Okay, stay well and stay safe. Do what we're told, and hopefully this will all be over soon. Okay? Have a good few days, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Bye, guys.